you say a few words about the distinctive contribution visual artists made during these years?
Yes, well, as a visual artist, born after the post-Friday Agreement in 1998, I think that kind of legacy of the Troubles was very apparent even within my undergrad studies, studying at Ulster University with the likes of Donovan Wiley and Paul Seawright, who is quite known for their kind of documentary approach with dealing with the Troubles directly. As this kind of generation kind of been brought up in that, my influences have been really shaped from those kind of tutors, but obviously not being living through that kind of turmoil. The kind of my work responds to my kind of sense of identity through the kind of architecture and also mentality that is kind of been people have been brought up in. From my background in kind of a Protestant, loyalist, working class area, these kind of ideas and like ideas of masculinity and the kind of tribal nature in which kind of people put themselves in has been very apparent throughout my life, and with my photographic practice, I seek to kind of challenge those norms and kind of challenge identity, and almost to help my identity a little bit, to understand it a bit more, as there is so much progress to be made in Northern Ireland, and I think this generation with kind of more of experimental take on what the Troubles have been and what kind of post-Troubles can look like is a very open landscape for visual artists to explore, and I feel like I am pushing those boundaries within my photographic practice. I think there's a great deal of history and legacy with the Troubles, and I think post 1998, the Good Friday Agreement, a lot of these photographers were very much reportage, kind of documentary photography, quite journalistic approach, and it was quite how the camera observed certain actions and events, and I think the media kind of perpetuated certain narratives. I think with this kind of new generation of photographers or artists, I think we are trying to challenge those norms and conventions, especially with representation and the lack of representation, particularly in contemporary Northern Ireland. I think current artists are reflecting on the past in a way that is fresh and intriguing through kind of approaches in new media, new technology, and utilizing those kind of utilizing like the web-based services such as online platforms. And I think post-COVID, those have been ever more apparent with connecting with people. In terms of actual making visual art, those have manifested in various forms other than photography, incorporating other mediums and disciplines such as 3D technologies and installation and sound pieces that elevate the medium itself, whereas previous years didn't have access to technologies or didn't have access to those avenues. So I think visual artists now are taking those histories and narratives from before and recontextualizing them to fit their own kind of aspect of what they think contemporary Northern Ireland is.